Thank you for waiting. You will now be added to the conference.
Hello. Similar to last week, I am once again recording the call, and this time I think it won't have any call drops while recording to YouTube.
Hi, this is Deanna.
Hi, my name's Gina. This is my first time on the call.
Welcome, Gina. Is Melissa on the call already? Okay.
Hi, Deanna. This is Lisa from the Food Co-op Board.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you? I'm pretty good, all things considered. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I'm looking forward to listening in.
Wonderful. I know that Melissa is facilitating this call, so I think that as soon as she's on, she'll probably start taking everybody's names. I don't know how many people are already on the call.
All right. I'm just going to mute myself until I'm asked not to for any reason.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, thanks.
Who else is on here? I heard Jay.
George. Derek.
Viviana. Hi, Leonore.
Hi, Luis.
Hi, it's Kim from the Dean of Students office.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Deanna, are you on the call? It's Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Yes, I'm on here.
Oh, good.
Hey.
And Melissa, I am once again recording the call. This time I think it will actually record all the time. Won't.
That's great, because Savannah will be late, so that's super helpful. Thank you. Deanna, are you tracking names, or should I track names?
I'm not. I was just curious about who's on, so it's all you, unless you want me to.
Okay. No, I got this. I'm going to just list off who I just heard when I signed in. So just listen for your name, and then if I don't say your name, say after I'm done. I heard Leonore, Luis, Kim from Dean of Students office, Deanna, and Jay. Who else?
Wendy from STISA.
Great.
Also Bianca from STISA.
Great.
Katerina, Santa Barbara Behavioral Wellness.
Great.
Derek, UCPD.
Great.
George, UCSB.
Great.
Hey, it's Gina, Food Not Bombs.
Great.
Lisa from the Food Co-op Board.
Great. Hello, who just called in?
This is Lori Goodman. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Lori. Thanks for calling. I'm going to let this run like this for probably 5 minutes because it feels like people call in between 11:45 and ish. So continue on and we'll resume as we hear more people call in, if that's good with everybody.
Sounds good.
Great. And for those that just called in, Jay is recording, just so that you know. Did somebody just call in or did somebody hang up? Maybe it was a mute. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, who just called in?
Hi, this is Aaron Jones.
Hey, Aaron, thanks for calling.
Hey. Yeah, what's happening?
Everybody is patiently and quietly waiting. Ooh, another call. Who just called in?
Hi, this is Anna Maya.
Hi, Anna, thanks for calling. We're just waiting a few more minutes for more people to call in, and then we'll start.
Okay. I might have to get off the phone if I get really busy at the office because we're having people pick up by appointment only. So just to let you know.
Thank you for taking time to call. We can even start with you guys once we start going if you have updates. You have to get off.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for calling. I'll just give it like 2 more minutes, and then we will go forth. Hi, who just called in?
Hey, it's Deputy Schroeder with the Sheriff's Department.
Great. Thanks, Justin. We're just waiting a few more minutes for people to keep calling, and then we'll get going and have a list of people's names. Hi, who just called in?
This is Gina in Joan's office. She's about to
Yay.
jump on.
Oh, great. Is that Joan? Oops. Hello,
yes.
hello.
Yes, it's
Great.
Joan. Hi, Melissa.
Perfect. Hi, Joan. Did anybody else
Hi,
call
Melissa.
Joan? Perfect. Spencer?
Hi, Spencer Brandt here, too.
Great. For those that just called in, Jay is recording the call. Savannah, who is our note taker, will be a little bit late, but we'll have at least the recording. And I'm just waiting another minute just for a few straggling people, and we'll start.
Okay. Well, are things quiet at the co-op, or have you got a lot of business?
That's a complicated question to answer. I'll talk about it when I do an update. How about that? Who just called into the call?
Oh,
Hi,
that's
this is Jonathan.
The club again.
Jonathan, and who was the other person?
It's just Lisa from the co-op again. I got disconnected.
Oh, hi.
I'm getting
Not just you. You're great. Hi. No hiding on this call. How's everybody feeling? Do we want to just get started to honor people's time?
I think so, and we can go back and summarize quickly if others join us.
Joan has spoken. Game on. Welcome, everybody, to our weekly COVID update IVCN call. I'll do my best to facilitate. It's tricky on conference calls, so it's awesome that everybody is listening before talking. I'll just go down the list of names that I have so we all know who's on the call right now. We have Leonor from St. George Youth. We have Luis from IVRPD, Kim, Dean of Students Office, Diana from Associated Students, Jay, representing Jay, maybe community member. You can say more. He's also recording the call. Both Wendy and Bianca from STESA, Katarina from SB Behavioral Wellness, Derek from the UCPD, George Thurlow from UCSB, Gina from Food Not Bombs, Lisa, the board president of the Food Co-op, Lori, ED of IVYP, Aaron Jones, head of EOP, Anna Maya from IV Youth Project, Justin from IV Foot Patrol, Gina and Joan, third district supervisor, office and supervisor, Spencer, IVCSD, and Jonathan from IVCSD.
Wow.
Did I get everyone?
No, Melissa, Viviana, I don't think you heard me check in.
Perfect. And Viviana from the Office of Student Life. Excellent.
Okay.
So as we've been running the call, we've been doing major updates first and then moving into more regular announcements. And so I wanted to invite, probably starting with the county, since we have County and Jones on the call. Does that feel good to everybody to start that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Joan,
well,
one second. I was going to say, and typically on these calls, I've started these, since we moved to weekly, I've started with updates about COVID. I don't really have much to update, so I think Joan was going to do more of a typical update about budget things and county business. And if anybody has COVID-related, county-related questions, go ahead and ask that after Joan gives her update.
And the key thing is that Monday we have a really abbreviated budget workshop. In the past, we've had a 3-day budget workshop process, and that is where we really have an opportunity to give direction for what will be in the budget in June, the actual budget hearings. But the financial situation this is a huge hit to the county budget, and we don't know. We have some sense of the revenue side. We're still figuring out on the cost side, and some of that will be reimbursed. But it's the federal bills we're still trying to figure it out. We heard an interesting report from our lobbyist in D.C. that some of the federal money is being channeled through traditional pipelines that are quite familiar with managing emergencies and getting the money out, but other agencies like Treasury have never run grant programs, and so it's going to be a learn as you go for them and for all of us how to access these funds. So we don't know on the revenue side, and it's going to be a huge hit for 3 months that we've already projected on the expenditure side, and on the revenue side, a huge hit that for 3 months that we've already tried to calculate. So all of this by way of saying you can tune into a shortened version. I think we'll be talking about libraries and just kind of getting a sense of where we are, but it's not going to be business as usual. And even before all of this, the sheriff was proposing a cut to our community resource deputy in IV. I don't think we need to organize a huge effort at this point, although a few emails couldn't hurt. But what we'll probably end up doing is that the June budget hearings we'll have more information at that point, and that may be where we have a lot of discussion. My hunch is that in the June process, we will have a really we'll still have limited knowledge, and what we may end up doing is saying we're going to go with really tightening our belts, but if we hit certain benchmarks mid-year or somewhere down the line, then we would already decide in June how to spend that money. So that's kind of what we're envisioning at this point for the budget process, given so many uncertainties. As you may know, in the budget process, we only need 3 votes. If you take things outside of the budget process, it takes 4 votes. So that's one rationale for trying to nail things down in June so that it would be automatically triggered at some later point, assuming we meet certain revenue assumptions. And I think that's kind of it for the budget piece of it. I think for the COVID piece, Gina can add more later with your questions, but we do seem to be plateauing. Our Santa Barbara County has been one of the most compliant in the entire country for the stay-at-home shelter-in-place, and that's had a really big impact. And now, as you probably know, we're encouraging people to add the additional measure of face coverings to protect other people. It's a sign of, your community-mindedness, not that you're aloof or isolating yourself, but that you're protecting your community. So that's how we have to think about it. Gina, did you have more to add?
I don't have anything to add. I will send to Melissa for anybody who's interested in a budget thing. I will put together sort of where people can find a budget document for Monday. And if people wanted to email a letter about priorities, something like that, they could definitely do that to the clerk of the board.
Please mute your phone if you've called in. You have background noise. We can't hear over your background noise.
Taking, and I'm muting right now.
Thank you.
So
Bye.
that's what I'll do that piece, and then just like Joan said, there will be more to come, more opportunity in the road to June, where it will be a more substantial process. It's a little bit of an inversion this year.
Hey, Gina.
There you go. Great.
Hey, it's Spencer. Hey, one question and one comment. My question is, I've been seeing some comments around the community that, first, that Isla Vista has been doing a good job of social distancing, which I agree by and large with those comments, but they're being construed off of the fact that there's only one confirmed case of COVID-19 in Isla Vista. What would you say to community members that might take that as a signal that we can be a little bit more loosey-goosey with the stay-at-home behavior?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say we're very much still in the throes of this pandemic, and just because there's one confirmed case doesn't mean that there are not other cases. And what we're now learning about asymptomatic carriers is really serious. And so there's a thought that maybe 20 to 25% of carriers could show no symptoms at all ever. And so now is not the time to start loosening restrictions. We really want to keep this thing flat. We don't know quite enough yet about the virus and how it behaves, and we don't have quite enough widespread testing access. And as I've been saying for a month now, every day that situation is improving, and the county is securing, more and more PPE. We're finding more and more bed space to build hospital capacity. We're doing the things we can locally to manage an uptick in cases if there were to be one. But now is not the time to start looking at. And I do want to commend Isla Vista. Like I had told Spencer and John and others, our office was getting lots of calls, and I finally just started asking. I said, wait, do you actually live in IV? From concerned people. And almost none of the folks lived in IV. It was like people in the broader area freaking out. And I thought, I know Isla Vistans are going to rise to this occasion, and they're going to be, especially last weekend, really respectful. They take this seriously. And sure enough, this community's just done really great. So I did just want to say that. It's been hard. I know it's been really, really hard. But you guys are doing great. Does that answer your question, Spencer?
Yeah, I think so, especially with testing. It just sounds like, in general, because our age group is less likely to get symptomatic or severely ill, that it's less likely that they get tested and that they become confirmed cases. So.
Yep, that's exactly right.
This is Melissa. I have a question, if nobody else has a question yet. So there's been a little bit. Okay, great. So we've been pretty good. We've been getting pretty good feedback at the co-op. I mean, obviously everybody has thoughts. The question around face masks came up yesterday from a concerned shopper trying to interpret the county's recommendation and was trying to. We've been kind of in a mode where we're waiting for guidelines from public health and using those recommendations to take next steps. So obviously, as of Sunday, all of our workers are wearing masks, for example. Should we take the recommendation as more of if someone's coming into the grocery store, are we trying to ensure that they're wearing masks at this point? Because that doesn't feel clear. It's not obviously required, so we can't say the county has required this. but
Yeah.
I want to be clear on what we're able to tell people so that we have one shared message.
Let me and this is nuanced, and even I didn't pick up on this, and I pay attention to this kind of messaging stuff in a very special way. It's face covering for the public, not face masks.
Okay, valid.
And so that's one little nuance thing that I think public health wasn't explicitly clear on in a way that people sort of, okay. So, yeah, if you're out in the grocery store, if you're out doing one of the few essential errands you may need, like, grocery, pharmacy, members of the public should be wearing face coverings. This can be a scarf. This can be, a converted T-shirt, something like that. So let me find out what they've put in writing, what public health has put in writing, Melissa, and I'll email it to you, because then there's the question about workers as well. And they put out guidance for grocery workers.
We have, we're clear on the grocery workers. We have as workers, I'm more thinking, do we need to come out with a public-facing co-op announcement that says, in order to shop in the store, you must adhere to the wearing a face covering guidelines?
Yeah, let me find that for you.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you.
It exciting, but we'll come up with something and I'll send it to you. So any kind
that'd
of
be
face
helpful.
covering is strongly encouraged. I don't think in our county it's and I don't know if Joan can clarify. I don't think you're necessarily going to be cited for not having a face covering, but I'll get clarification on that.
Okay. Yeah, it comes from the CDC, from the federal level, and so we're just consistent with that. And nobody's going to force you, but and I think everybody probably knows that the masks are what the healthcare providers need, and that's why these face coverings, we're trying to make that distinction. And again, it's thought it's a little bit protective of the individual wearing it, but what it really is doing is protecting the broader community. So be a good citizen and wear one.
Okay. So that my other follow-up question, and this might be very specific, obviously we have a grocery store. We are doing population control as we surge with customers, and I just want to be clear. I want to get clarity if there's been an official CDC recommendation on customer counts per square foot or anything like that. We just want to make sure that we, as a small store, are operating in best alignment. So if there's anything that becomes firm and a clear metric, that could be something really helpful for all of the stores, not just ours, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Gina can check back for sure. The only thing I've seen is that some stores are having one-way traffic so that you don't cross.
I'll double check. As far as I know, it's just the 6 feet separation guides it, as opposed to anything more specific than that.
Okay.
So how you apply 6 feet to your, if you have narrow, you might end up, if you have narrow aisles or things like that, you might just do one-way traffic as your kind of like one-way streets or something like that, so that you can best implement 6 feet in a small space.
Okay. Basically doing that. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Joan or Gina, COVID or other? Okay. If there's other follow-up questions, you can feel free to email that Ivy Community Network Gmail, and I can pass through to Gina, and then I'll share any information that Gina shares with me out with the group. I'm also posting on Facebook. Does anybody else that's doing either direct service or any other work have a big update that they want to share?
I can give an update from Stessa.
Perfect. Go for it.
So I know last week we were talking about our services and if there has been an increase in calls. Our calls fluctuate throughout the year, so there's no telling what the cause of the increase or decrease of the calls are. We have not finished going over the month of March yet and going over those calls and comparing those to last year. So once we do that, I can give you guys an update on that. But we have seen an increase in Spanish speakers calling, and these Spanish speakers are typically calling for COVID-19 resources. So that we have seen. That has been different. We don't tend to get many Spanish callers, and these past 3 weeks there has been a lot more Spanish callers, and specifically for COVID-19 resources. We have also had some challenges over our modifications that we've made. So we are providing counseling over the phone or over Doxy, so video chat. But we have noticed that some of our clients are having trouble with privacy at home, especially our teenagers. The teenagers, some of their parents aren't aware that they're receiving counseling, and some of them are, but there still isn't that privacy for them where they can be vulnerable and kind of like express their emotions and talk about their emotions. We had one teen who was doing a self-care craft, and a parent walked in the middle of the session, so that kind of interrupted the whole session. And then we had another teen who couldn't find a place where they could speak on the phone and have privacy during their session, so they ended up going to the garage and having their session there. So we are concerned about our clients and whether they're able to receive services or not. So we are trying to look into other modalities on how we can better provide services for them. So if there's any suggestions or you guys are aware of any other agencies on how they're providing services, that would be helpful too. And then, once I know about the numbers for March, if there has been a significant increase, I will let you guys know. Other than that, that's all I have right now regarding services. And I know Bianca wanted to kind of mention something about Sam as well.
If no one, does anyone have any questions for Wendy before I start?
Hi, this is Diana. I did just want to understand. Hi, Wendy. The calls that you are getting regarding COVID-19, you mentioned there are a lot of Spanish speakers. Are those COVID-19 general information about the disease, or do you have any more sense of what kinds of information you're looking for?
Yeah, so they some of them were asking, seeking whether it's food or financial support, things like that, like basic needs during this time. And also just information about COVID-19 in Spanish, because a lot of the information that's circulating is in English mainly. So kind of referring them to websites and places where they can be updated in Spanish.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. This is Lori. I just want to encourage you, if you're getting those phone calls, we have, this is Lori from IVYP. So we have resources in English and Spanish, and they can always call our Family Resource Center for support with food, with basic services, with financial support. I don't know if Anna's still on the line, but she can chime in. We try to make sure everything on our website is available in English and Spanish too. We're not always great with that, but we're doing our best.
Thank you, Lori. And we are trying to come up with a referral list specifically for this. So we do have the Family Resource Center on there as well. But thank you. Any other questions?
This is Katerina. I just wanted to, I'm looking for the phone number right now, but there is Future Leaders of America are offering some financial help to the undocumented for basic needs. So I will give that number as soon as I find it, okay? I'll get back to you. Uh-huh.
And that was Katerina?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That, by the way, that fund is called 805 Undocu Fund, and it's 805 UNDOCUFUND.org. Their website is fully in English and Spanish, and we're also supporting people who don't have a computer to apply. It's a great resource, and I believe it's still open. The United Way is managing another application for financial support, but I believe they've closed their first wave already.
I think the Undocu Fund is not taking applications yet. I looked at their website this morning. Unless their link is not yet active, I think they're still hiring folks to help support it. Unless something's changed from their web presence, you might know differently from within. But are there any more questions for Stessa, for Wendy? Does it feel helpful if we try to start, like, grouping together some of these? And it might already be happening through Family Resource Center, but the best place to find, like, a consolidated list of resources, is that more Family Resource Center territory? Anybody?
We have a pretty complete set of resources on our website, and the other place that's really superb is 211.
Okay.
So 211.org is really excellent. So I don't think that it makes a lot of sense to try to recreate the wheel.
That's great.
But I do think 211SantaBarbaraCounty.org, and they have a link that is coronavirus specific. And by the way, 805 Undocu Fund does have an application live. I just clicked through to it.
Okay.
Also, the local school districts also have a lot of good information up on their website. I know GUSD does.
Awesome. You can even I'll write a little consolidated list like that for the IVCN. I don't think it's a bad idea for harnessing the like kind of gathering together the places that have all the information, so it's an easy, just if our group page can be like a cool little node of all of that, that might be useful for folks too, I think. Can add that. Awesome. Bianca, did you want to give an update from Stessa also?
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk first about some considerations due to the current climate and the situation where everyone's kind of at home. So 80 to 90% of perpetrators are someone the survivor knows, meaning that it could be someone that they're currently living with. It could be family members, a spouse, just anyone who's in the home. And also not every survivor will want to report, and that could be due to the family dynamic or fear of retaliation. If they are dependent upon this person who is their perpetrator, they can't leave or whatever that may be. So just a couple considerations. And then something interesting that actually came up was that pornography usage is actually going up during these times, which has a lot of negative implications due to most of the content being aggressive content that shows violence against women, and lack of consent. And unfortunately, it's young boys being exposed to these at the age of 10. So right now, everything is very accessible. Folks are getting bored and they're turning to their computers or they're turning to their phones, whatever it may be. This is the type of content that's being consumed at very high rates, and it's affecting the type of education they're receiving about what healthy sex is or what consent is. So just something to keep in mind, and some things that we don't really consider during this time, but some stuff that's coming up. So kind of tying that into Sam, if folks, if they want to tune in, we are still very present on social media. We've done a lot of collaborations with folks like UCSB Police, and it's been really great. But we are having a trivia night next week on the 15th, which is a Wednesday. It is on IV history. So if you think you are very well versed and knowledgeable on IV history, tune in, and you have a chance to win a prize. I can go ahead and send a flyer, Melissa. That's all right. And if you're able to send it off, just so folks have some information on it. And if anyone is looking to collaborate, feel free to reach out to me. I can give my email if you'd like. It is bianca@spesa.org. If you have any ideas or if you want to do something on social media, I'm open to that. So you can go ahead and let me know.
Awesome. Definitely send that flyer. Happy to post it forward.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Any questions for Bianca? Does anybody else have an update that they'd like to give? Maybe any of our direct service providers that are still on the call? Anna, did you want to talk about Family Resource Center at all, if you're still here?
Hi, Melissa. This is Anna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. We're at the FRC. We're helping clients apply for UndocuFund and also United Way, as well as unemployment. And we also do emergency pantry pickup by appointment only. And we're also doing a lot of applications over the phone. We are seeing, last week we saw 99 families that came in. That's 340 individuals that we serve food. And our phone keeps ringing and ringing. There's a lot of people coming to get food. So it's good. We're here to support anybody and to help anybody. Like I said, we're all doing things over the phone now, talking to clients and following up. We are hearing a lot of our clients sharing with me yesterday, that worry about their rent, and that's a question that I need to ask and see if anybody can give us some input about this, because some of our families live with other families, and they're not the ones actually renting the place. There's somebody else that has the contract, and they're renting a room to the client, so they're really worried because they don't have money to pay for their rent. And how does that, I know that we talked about at the Goleta Collaborative meeting that we talked about that landlords are now to, tell people that they need to leave because they're not paying their rent. We know that. We share that with them. But how is that going to impact our families, the ones that are renting a room, not the one that has the contract?
Legal Aid Foundation actually has information about this, and anybody who's under that, experiencing that, should call Santa Barbara Legal Aid Foundation immediately.
Okay. Yeah, because they said that they talked to the person that has the contract, and they have the money to pay the rent, but they're asking, the people that are renting to pay for their rent, but they don't have any. So they're very scared. They're very worried, So.
Yeah. I'll put an email with the executive director of Legal Aid right now for you to be in contact with her. She gave guidance. Legal Aid had a phone call last week that talked a little bit about this, but I'm not going to repeat the sort of legal guidance that was given because I'm not a lawyer.
I understand. I just want to bring it out because that's something that is happening right now with our families, and we need to know exactly how we can help them, and or who do we need to refer them to, or where, so they can feel comfortable and feel safe and be okay. So that's the update for our families right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. So I'm tracking this on the IVCN group page. I'm just writing down resources, including Legal Aid Foundation, including the Family Resource Center, if you're still willing to take more people.
Yes, Melissa.
Okay.
You know
You're
we do.
amazing. Are you all planning to do any more specific food distributions, or is it all by appointment only at this point?
At this point, it's all by appointment only.
Okay.
Our schools are closed too, so.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And we have a lot of people coming, on the days that we're here, because right now we're working from home 2 days out of the week, and the other 3 days are here in the office working, with phone calls and talking to clients. And, the other thing also, a lot of our clients, they're in a lot of stress, and they're crying and they're worried. And so it's a lot that it's going on, and we're hearing this every day, every hour. And I'm just trying to be as positive as we could be with our clients and, eager to learn more about what's out there and where can we refer our clients. So,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update. And for those that the United Way website, I'm just looking at it right now, does have a lot of great links for different categories of support. So they're a good umbrella website to go to if you need to find a direct line towards a different category like legal or medical assistance, all that stuff I'm seeing here. Are there any other questions for Anna, Family Resource Center? Okay. Does anybody else want to do an update? Laura, do you have anything from IVYP General?
Well, sure. In addition to our COVID-19 resources, we have a really robust section of our website providing support to families with children at home called Kids Corner, and that is a lot of fun activities, some mental wellness activities, games. It's really meant to be, sort of support beyond what the teachers are doing in their school day. We're working on not just waiting for people to call our FRC, but proactively reaching out to families to check in. We're continuing to see the digital divide and just addressing our own capacity to be computer literate as an agency. We had many staff members who really don't know how to use a computer, didn't have a computer, and I'm seeing that's going to be a huge equity issue going forward in the future, and I see us really doing some thinking when we move into the new normal to see computer literacy to be as important as reading literacy. We're continuing to engage the community, the Goleta Valley community partners, so we're getting some of the same folks that are on these calls and spreading that information a little broader. We always have someone from the school district there and from the city of Goleta, as in addition to Isla Vista and county people and nonprofit. And it's I want to thank you, Melissa and Deanna, for modeling this, because when you did this the first week, it's like the light bulb went on for me to recognize how important it is to just be in communication regularly with your networks. So just know that the work you're doing here is being amplified and shared, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm also looking at the IVYP COVID-19 page, and it's very comprehensive, and so I'm popping that link on this post I'm about to do. And I suggest to everybody to make sure you look at this. It's a good landing page that has everything from children and parenting resources, food, financial support stuff. So y'all did a great job kind of harnessing. It's a very good page to share. So I'll put that on our post. Thank you. Is there anybody else on the call that wants to share an update? That doesn't have to be COVID related necessarily. I know we have law enforcement on the call, plus UCSB folks. I think Food Not Bombs is on the call.
Melissa.
Anybody?
Yeah, this is Jonathan. Just a quick update from CSD is we have our budget survey out, and it's been sent out to our email list, and it's on our Facebook page, and I can get it to you to send to the IVCN list as well. But that's just something, we want everyone's input on how we spend our $1 million budget, and so please fill out our survey. It's very quick and easy to get done.
Awesome.
Hey, Spencer from IVCSD, just wanted to piggyback off Jonathan's comments. We will have some sort of a budget e-town hall coming up in the future soon. Don't have a date on that, but keep your eyes peeled for that if you want to participate. Also, wanted to give a little bit of an update on libraries. Over the last couple of days, particularly going back to Tuesday, the work that the Goleta Valley Library System had done to propose services for Isla Vista was voted on by the Goleta City Council, and I'm happy to report that for the first time, Isla Vista will have dedicated library services.
Baby,
there will
something
be
dripping in our fridge.
You're not muted. What was that?
Oh, my bad.
It
happens.
So, hey, just continuing, what it sounds like is that there's going to be 3 days of service per week for an Isla Vista reading room run out of the community center or the community room. It's still a partnership that is going to be between us as the CSC and the City of Goleta that we're going to be working out the details of. But when we've been engaged in the process for libraries that the City of Goleta has run throughout the past year and a half, our board has really made it a big priority to make sure that two important, generalized needs were met. The first is services for our K-12 students and families. That includes literacy, tutoring, other reading programs. And the second is services for college-age individuals. That is study space, commonly assigned college-level course books for checkout, and all the things that come along with that. So we're really excited about that. I want to thank the City of Goleta and the council members from Goleta for playing such a big role, and also really thank our State Assembly member, Monique Limon, who was able to secure $200,000 in the state budget specifically for an Isla Vista satellite library. That really helped push this over the top, and so for the first time we'll be able to say we have library services in Isla Vista.
That's amazing. Woohoo! Good job. Good job, team. Very exciting.
This is Luis from IVRPD. I have some feel-good stuff to share here.
Yeah, feel good. Go for it. That sounds good.
So starting tomorrow, I've been working with Leonora from the St. George Youth Center. We got our ducks in a row. We're going to be kicking off our 6 Feet Apart, put together a heart social media campaign. Would love to, I emailed it to the IVCN email, the flyer, along with some information regarding it. Would love to get people to share this flyer, share the information. We want this to be an interactive, fun social media campaign. Essentially, we have themes for 4 weeks. And each week, we'll ask people to upload a picture on Instagram of the photo that matches the theme for the week. The first theme is going to be What Brings You Joy. Tag at IVRPD, tag at IVSGYC on Instagram, and the hashtag IVOutHeart. And you'll be entered into a raffle to win a stay-at-home kit. So we're going to have kits that have board games, deck of cards, cake mix and icing and microwave popcorn, and we're going to get gift cards from the food co-op as well to put in there, some house amenities. So each week we'll pick some winners. We'll also be sharing each entry, so every person that tags us in the IVSGYC Instagram, we will share their entry just so we can kind of get, these pictures circulating, that it's not just your own personal Instagram followers can see it, but, hopefully the whole community can start seeing it as we begin to share these photos and just kind of make it feel good. The themes for each week are what brings you joy. Next week will be staying active and fit. Thanks to Melissa's idea, we're doing what's cooking, and then we'll also be doing training my brain. So 4 weeks, 4 different themes. Instagram, sharing. So anybody who has social media, we would love for you to help us share this flyer, try to get to as many people. That way, we can all see what everyone's doing here in the community, how we're staying home, practicing social distancing, but also staying busy, still being happy, still being active, eating at home, and all that kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, I emailed it to the IVCN email, so hopefully we can share that around.
I'll definitely share it.
Yes. And then also on the IVRPD side, we're also going to have a survey that will be going out regarding adult recreation. We're looking to start doing recreational classes, sports leagues, all that kind of stuff for adults. So we'll be sending out a survey to our distribution list, and if anybody else has a distribution list that they can assist us with, so we can reach as many people as possible. We want to get the public's input on what kind of programs, classes they want to do. It could be gardening, cooking, art, yoga, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get the survey out and try to get people's feedback. And once we get back to normal life, we'll be running some recreational programs for adults. And that's all I have.
That was a great update. Can you it'd be fun to share the different hashtags, and if that's, I don't know if it's in your flyer. I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah.
But whatever I can do, it's already in there.
Yeah, the flyer has
great.
How to enter, what hashtags, the themes, it has all that information.
Perfect. I'll just send it out. Yay.
Melissa, while everyone was on the phone, I was able to get the website. It is the 805undocufund.org, and they are accepting applications. It is first come, first serves, and they apparently have quite a few applications already, but it's still worth the effort to do that. Thank you.
You said that was 805 Undocufund?
Yes.
Okay.
805undocufund.org.
Great.
Melissa had mentioned law enforcement. I don't know if we had heard information about the reduction of staffing or the closing of the Foot Patrol office yet on this call. I don't remember having heard anything about that.
Does law enforcement want to offer an update? Do we still have anybody on the call?
Derek's here. Justin had to hop off, and he messaged me and said that if anybody had any questions for the IV Foot Patrol, that he was more than willing to answer those and send them back in email form. So if you guys have any questions for IV Foot Patrol, you can ask those to me, and I will write those down and forward those to Justin. Other than that, UCPD, we don't have any new updates. It's kind of the same situation last week, but we're getting in a good groove with figuring out our social media. We now have somebody on day shift fully running that social media, so we're no longer going to be lagging behind, but we'll be all caught up for partnerships and that good stuff. So that's all we got.
Okay, I brought it up because actually an email that I got, because it had been sent to Jonathan, who then forwarded it to me, which was sent from somebody at UCPD to all sheriff's employees, which then got forwarded, was about, one sentence here from, to more effectively utilize our scarce deputy sheriff resources during this emergency situation, we are temporarily closing the Ala Vista Foot Patrol Station and reallocating its personnel toward our overall countywide patrol services need. For the time being, the Ala Vista community will be policed as a beat within the Goleta Patrol Bureau. Additionally, I spoke with Chief Brock from UCPD, and they will also check in on the Ala Vista community and provide assistance for patrol personnel when needed.
I didn't totally understand what you said.
This is Pegeen. When does this go into effect, Spencer? I haven't heard anything about this yet.
This is already in effect. Yeah, this is Jay speaking. Yes, so I would do a little slower here,
Sorry.
and provide a little more context. So it was subject, temporary closure of the Isla Vista Foot Patrol. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, UCSB and SBCC transitioned to online learning, and UCSB closed a significant portion of their campus housing. As a result of these changes, the population of Isla Vista declined drastically. This resulted in a significant drop in law enforcement calls for service, as well as the need for the deployment of the previously utilized levels of policing resources within the Isla Vista community. To more effectively utilize our scarce deputy sheriff resources during this emergency situation, we are temporarily closing the Isla Vista Foot Patrol station and reallocating its personnel towards our overall countywide patrol services needs. For the time being, the Isla Vista community will be policed as a beat within the Goleta Patrol Bureau. Additionally, I spoke with Chief Brock from UCPD, and they will also check in on the Isla Vista community and provide assistance to our patrol personnel when needed. The affected personnel are not being transferred as part of this temporary closure and will not lose their assignment or standing with the IVFP Bureau. The DOC is working with all current IVFP personnel to facilitate the coverage of other patrol areas while minimizing impacts to the employee. This includes trying to keep the applicable deputy's schedule as close to their assigned IVFP schedule as is possible and allowing the deputy to do on-off and start the shift at the IVFP station. One more sentence. But when needed, the DOC is having IVFP personnel work with shifts at patrol stations that are closer to their homes, whereby their workday starts at the applicable station and not at IVFP. And then the email that was sent with an extra note for Jonathan and Gina. Just want to give you both a quick heads up on this change to our patrol deployment within Isla Vista, should you receive inquiries from your constituents. For the most part, the deputies that will be policing the IVFP community will continue to be the deputies that are assigned to IVFP on a permanent basis for consistency in how services are provided. In short, there will simply be fewer of them at any given point in time for the time being. We will continue to monitor calls for service and other indicators of service needs for changes that may occur in the future and adjust our staffing as needed. Please do not hesitate to give me a call if you have any questions. And this is Craig Bonner, Chief Deputy.
They're just not stationed in the Foot Patrol office. They'll be dispatched out of the Goleta station should there be any police Foot Patrol needs in Isla Vista.
Gina, this is George. That message is a little confusing because it also sounds like that as a result of the decrease in calls, there's going to be a decrease in service. And I would just want to make sure that if there's a decrease in service, it doesn't happen at the same time that we're eliminating our community services officer.
I don't think that this is a permanent situation. So, and I could best answer your sort of implication, or if that was a question. I think it's just in response to the pandemic right now, and just saying we don't have people staffed in this office right here, right now. We have received a dramatic decrease in calls. We're available and will respond promptly and efficiently as a community would expect if needed. We're more concentrated out of the Goleta substation just during the kind of height of this pandemic.
So Gina, first of all, we know that this reduction in calls is not going to be short term. We know that we're looking out at least through the end of summer for a reduction in people in Isla Vista. I would just want to make sure that we keep track of if there's a reduction in services and there's a savings, just as there was a reduction in service and a savings from Deltopia, that we track that.
Yeah, we're a government entity, so that stuff is pretty well documented. It may take a long time for us to get sort of the financial analysis of that, as would be expected, but that's something that our office is also interested in.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions regarding law enforcement or anything of this nature?
Yes, this is Peggy. This is just to echo on what George said. We're not losing Justin as our resource officer. He's still going to be working full time out in Isla Vista?
That's what Joan was saying in the budget proposal that the sheriff's putting forward. That position is proposed to be eliminated unless the Board of Supervisors on a majority basis decides to come up with one-time funding to continue funding that position. That's a position that our office certainly supports and will advocate for, to continue funding that. Normally, we would really advocate for funding for that position around the budget workshop process, but because that process is changing, it's Monday, it'll be a really short session. The county doesn't have a full picture of what its budgetary outlook is going to look like for next year at this time because of the pandemic. That advocacy can ramp up around June as we go into the actual final budget adoption process then, as the supervisors do. I emailed Melissa. She can share with the network when she kind of compiles stuff. We do encourage, if people want to call or write the Board of Supervisors, and just it can be a simple note saying, I support the continued funding of the Community Resource Deputy position in Isla Vista. Those can be shared with the clerk of the board and put into the record in preparation for Monday's workshop. And to be really clear, like, we have the county Foot Patrol Sheriff's Department has contract obligations for meeting law enforcement staffing and models and things like that with the university. They have agreements together, so that the county is not in a position. It's not like they can just like cut and run and do whatever they want. Like, we have, agreements in place for what law enforcement and staffing and things look like. So, and the community resource deputy was always a position that was funded beyond what the agreements stipulated. So.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. He's done, and James before him, a world of good out here. And
we agree.
Yeah, so I do hope we can hang on to that position. I mean, we saw that with Deltopia. He took extra precautions and outreach prior to the event to make sure that people really understood what was happening, and I think that was one of the big reasons why we were so successful in Isla Vista. So anyways, folks, it's an important position. I hope we don't lose it.
I think it's going to be interesting as this all falls out, as this rolls forward, like as a community, that we start to see the human touch points that help to kind of craft this new narrative. That was really, like, the school year has been pretty incredible in terms of how the outreach programs from UCPD and the Foot Patrol have felt like it's really made a difference, and that as a community network also that we can keep, having not just these calls, but sharing in our anecdotes, particularly as this, moves ahead and we get ready for next school year into so much unknown, that we all understand that we are the human continuity in a community that does not have the benefit of continuity like other places, and that the strength of this network might become really, really important more than ever when we land back to a sense of normal, whatever that is, so that we can remind ourselves the incredible progress that we made in Isla Vista in the past 2 years, especially, most notably with the relationship between not everybody, obviously, but a lot of our community and our local law enforcement. So I just think that's an important back pocket thing that we might all have unique, because we do have this group of people staying so connected that understands the need of humans to be that bridge of continuity from year to year. And now more than ever before, because it's almost like we've erased, in some ways, some progress because we've had to change so much. But we know what we did. That's what I'm trying to say. It's an important time to reflect when we get towards summer and fall again.
Yeah, Melissa, I really like that. And this is Derek from UCPD again. I would just like to say that even from our position internally, I think a lot of these meetings and discussions have even brought UCPD and SBSO together in ways that are new. Just with Justin sitting in and listening in and participating in our community outreach meetings, and us collaborating with Justin, I think has not only as you mentioned, brought relationships in Isla Vista as a whole, but even within law enforcement itself, just the university and the city and the sheriff's department working together in new ways has been really cool. So I would just like to also echo what you were saying and keep memorializing that and keep working on those things.
Awesome. This is Deanna. I would also just jump in and I wonder if, as a network, we want to draft an email or a letter to go out for the budget hearing on Monday from the network.
Deanna, this is Spencer. I think that is an excellent idea. I think that Joan and Gina both mentioned that the bulk of the advocacy will be happening over the next month, 2 months or so. But I will definitely be speaking in public comment, and I think it'd be great if this body also took an official position just to let the Board of Supervisors know how important the community resource deputy position is. And Derek, I know you're passing stuff along to Justin since he can't be here with us right now. If there's anything that you could pass along to him, please let him know just how appreciative we have all been for the work that he has done in that role to build a bridge between law enforcement, students, and the rest of the community, and how much we value that.
I was actually just drafting up a message to him while you were speaking, so way ahead of you, sending him your guys' support and admiration right now.
What's the timing? I unfortunately, I would love to have a letter. I don't know that I personally have more time to do more things, but what is the deadline to provide a letter?
I'm happy to take the lead on that and start drafting something up.
That would be amazing. One more question, just regarding this budget and the funding and the position. Maybe I missed this in the conversation. Is there opportunity to create temporary change so that the position doesn't go away, but it's just reassessed as this situation unfolds? Like allocating money away from the position in the current iteration of a budget, but then looking at the community needs, like readdressing it in like September. Does that happen with the budget ever?
I'm not.
Position?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite understanding the question, so I'm not quite sure exactly how to answer
Okay.
it. I think the best I can.
Is it like all or nothing? Is it all or nothing if the position goes away? Does it have to be not coming back by like the time school starts, for example?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. I think ultimately a lot of it's going to hinge on the overall county's budget prospects as that kind of becomes clear as we get closer to June. Is where I think what you're proposing is like, well, maybe we don't need it exactly full time. Maybe if the supervisors prioritize 3/4 funding because we're in a situation where we're looking at 3 months out of the year of being down service or not as much need for calls for service. And so perhaps that's a possibility. Yeah, that could be a policy decision that the board decides to adopt. But and I don't, just to clarify for everybody, if Spencer spearheads, kind of getting signatures and putting a letter together, that's great. And all the directions on how to do comment, you can email. Probably the best for everybody is just submit your comment to email. It says prior to 5 p.m. It says the Monday before the board meeting, but the board meeting is on Monday. So the agenda for Monday's workshop is not yet posted. So I don't know the order that the sheriff's budget is going to be presented. And so I think comments would need to come in probably by close of business Friday just to be conservative. And you can just submit your letter to be part of the record. You could submit a letter to be read into the record. And so I have those directions. I emailed those directions to the IVCN network distribution list. you can phone in, but that's trickier because then it's a timing issue. And without me knowing what the agenda, you can phone in and read your comments, but that logistically I think would be very challenging to accomplish for Monday without having had the agenda out yet. But that is a possibility that the clerk would queue you up. So I think for now, for Monday, the best thing is if someone can generate a letter and then just have signatories on it, it's probably the best, and just have one letter be read just for process, and then, you know, keep this conversation going as the bigger budget picture comes together towards June.
Awesome. I'll make sure to forward all that out today when I get it.
Yeah, I can work on putting something together, and I'll be in communication with you, Melissa. But I do want to emphasize one thing that Gina mentioned earlier in the discussion, which is that the sheriff had planned to cut this position or to propose to cut it before all of the COVID-19 crisis started. So while it sounds like COVID-19 will play a big role in whether or not we can keep it, this was a ongoing thing. There are plans that he had.
How interesting. Sounds like a letter is really needed then.
Didn't this happen last year also, folks?
Yes, I was about to say.
It happens every year.
Every year.
Yeah,
It happens only 4 years.
Well, it's his spot is invaluable. It makes all the difference out here. So thank you, Spencer, for offering to write the letter. And thank you, everyone, for sharing all this information.
Okay, so we're at a little bit before 1 p.m. Technically, we could go till 1:15. I want to honor people's time. Is there anybody else that has an update to share? Doesn't have to be COVID specific.
Melissa, this is Leah. I don't know if we actually have said it at this meeting, but Deltopia was Saturday, and I wanted to acknowledge that how things went on Saturday, and my understanding from the numbers of from law enforcement, 0 arrests, and certainly what I've heard from everybody else was that there were very few people out, as much as there were still people, I guess, partying in their homes. So wanted to just, first of all, say congratulations to all of us, but then also if there are any, additional things that anybody wants to share about how it was on Saturday.
I dropped in for a few seconds on a Zoomtopia that was published on the UCSB Free and for Sale. That was hopping.
That's awesome.
So I was out in the morning and for an hour or two just checking things out. Foot Patrol was very much a large presence out here, making sure that people were keeping foot and that large parties were not going on. But on a small, and really Isla Vista did great. But I did notice in some houses, because I am pretty familiar over the last 3 weeks of who stayed and who didn't stay. We did have more folks that had come back into Isla Vista from their spring break, and we did have some mixing in houses. I mean, that's to be expected. I just have my fingers crossed that in another week we don't get any cases coming out of Isla Vista, because that would be kind of the timeline for that if folks that had come back in and had gone to party with their neighbors. But overall, it was nice to see everyone being so respectful and so helpful and so conscious about the community. So anyways, thanks again to Foot Patrol and everybody else who helped keep that, and CSD and everyone who put the message out there that now is not the time. So, but yeah, I've got my fingers crossed that people were extra careful. Anyways, thanks.
Again, this is George. Thank you for that comment. What's your sense about what the percentage, I mean, you're right there. What's your sense on the percentage of household, I mean, how many people are in IV on a percentage basis compared to, 6 months ago? Do you have a sense? I mean, just a rough figure?
I have kind of a rough guesstimate. So you got to figure we've got our 3,000 to 4,000 permanent residents in Isla Vista. mostly in the northern part of Isla Vista. And there were definitely households that stayed prior to spring break. I mean, I would say maybe at least 1,000 students, mostly in the surf houses, the co-op houses, kind of the longer-term houses where, senior houses. But what I saw on Monday after spring break was a lot of places that opened up on Del Playa that had been closed up before. And then a few people in some of the fraternity houses, not large amounts of people going into those houses, but definitely a handful. So it's hard to put a number on it, looking at cars, looking at new faces, looking at who was walking through Isla Vista. But at least 500 new folks came back in, if not more. But it's pretty peaceful out here. The best sense you can get is go out at a sunset and see how many people there are in Isla Vista. There's a lot of people out there for sunsets. But I would say we probably have, the 4,000 permanent residents and about 2,000 students in Isla Vista, if I were to guess. But it's just a guess.
Okay. Thank you.
If co-op sales are any indication, we've dropped from like an 850 to 900 per day customer count to about 350, and it's mostly non-students, actually. I would say it's about 80% non-students shopping right now versus where it was like 80% students before. So it's a pretty different slice of shopper for us right now. So that's something. And actually, maybe I'll just quickly say that the co-op has rolled out our curbside shopping and online ordering program. Right now, it's just for co-op owners, so it's a great time to join the co-op if you're not an owner and you want to take advantage of curbside. We're really proud. Our point-of-sale manager hustled to put our entire co-op shopping experience on the web cart. So you can now see pictures of everything, nutrition information, everything. So if you are a co-op owner or want to join so you can get access to our curbside, you can email me at my GM email address for that information.
Melissa, is that still just on a limited basis per day, or can now anyone use those services?
Well, it's still limited because we have human capacity, so we're still building our schedule out. So you can go on the website, on the link, and you can pick time. I think we have 5 orders a day right now eligible, and then we're hoping to grow it to 10 and then more if we can. So we're growing it based on our human capacity and as we learn the best systems to fill the orders. But if you just email me, I will send you the link.
Cool. Do you still are you trying to save those 5 to 10 spots for people who are still in vulnerable communities?
Well, yes, and I worked the morning shift the past 2 mornings, and I'll say we're seeing like half people being compassionate about that and half not. And I'm just in the place of we want to sell groceries to our community, and if you want to support the co-op to buy those groceries, you should definitely apply. Be in the curbside program if that will help.
Okay, thank you.
We're paying our workers hazard pay, and we're trying to keep ourselves able, and so we do appreciate the support of the community choosing co-op for your groceries right now. We are small. We are very well stocked, actually. So if you're looking for a nourishing shopping experience in a small store, we are here, and we'd love to sell groceries. Thank you. Are there any other updates?
Yeah, this is Kim over at the Dean of Students Office.
Hi, Kim.
I just wanted to make sure folks know about a great resource and a website that is a kind of a consolidation website of services, and it's the sa.ucsb.edu. And that's the Division of Student Affairs main homepage. And in there, departments and services. When you click on that, it's got just a consolidated list of all of the different departments within the division and kind of how they're serving folks right now. There are grids of services, how people can access things in different ways. There's also links to the basic needs resources. There's links to resources for remote learning, as well as a list and links to all of the student services that are still being offered 24/7, things like the care services, CAPS, the undocumented student legal services, phone numbers, and non-emergency medical advice links, and so forth.
This is a great resource page. Thank you for sharing it. I'm going to add it to what I just put up on the IVCN page also.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Does anybody else have an update that they would like to share to the group? Okay. Does everybody feel still enthusiastic about our weekly call in this format? Is it working for people? Do we want to keep it up?
I'm enjoying this.
I like it.
You like it?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it feels like it's a good use of people's time, I think we'll keep doing it. I'm happy to keep facilitating if we're good with the agenda being loose like this, and I'll take any support in information sharing. And if Savannah didn't make it on the call, at least we have this one recorded, and then we'll try to aim for notes from the next call. Does that work for everyone?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you all. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
Melissa.
Okay, bye. Bye.